My name is Adrian Cole. I am 34 years old, and until last year, I worked as a compliance officer at the National Housing Records Agency. It was not a flashy job, but it was steady and honest. I reviewed contracts, checked funding reports, and made sure public money was used the right way. I believed in rules. I believed in fairness. That belief was tested the morning I was called into internal affairs. My supervisor, Victor Hale, sat across from me with a tight face. A woman from Human Resources was beside him. They told me I had been accused of rape by a coworker named Olivia Grant. The word hit me like a truck. I could not breathe. They said it allegedly happened after a late staff meeting the previous Thursday. I knew at once something was terribly wrong. I had done nothing. But the room already felt like a courtroom. I remember that Thursday clearly. We had stayed late to prepare a report for the state auditor. The deadline was Friday morning. Olivia and I were part of a 5-person team. We worked in the main conference room until about 8:15 p.m. Security logs would show that. After we finished, I packed my laptop and left. I nodded goodbye to everyone. I drove straight home. That night was not unusual. I reheated leftovers, called my mother, and went to bed. There was no secret meeting, no private talk, nothing even close to what she later claimed. Yet in that internal affairs office, my memory felt weak compared to the weight of her accusation. They placed me on immediate administrative leave. My badge was taken. My access to the building was revoked. I walked out carrying a small box of personal items, feeling as if my entire life had cracked open in one cruel moment. The news spread faster than I expected. By the next morning, my phone was full of missed calls. Some were from coworkers. Others were from numbers I did not know. I ignored them all. My sister, Nina, came over after work. She sat beside me on the couch as I told her everything. Her face went pale, but she never once doubted me. "I know you," she said. "You would never do that." Her trust was the only thing holding me together. The agency had already informed the police. A formal investigation would begin. I understood why. The accusation was serious. But knowing that did not make it easier. My neighbors looked at me differently when I stepped outside. I imagined whispers behind curtains. Shame hung over me like a heavy coat I could not remove. I kept replaying that Thursday in my mind, searching for anything that could explain this nightmare. 3 days later, I was asked to come to the police station for questioning. I went with a lawyer named Samuel Reed, who Nina helped me find. He was calm and direct. He told me to answer truthfully and clearly. I had nothing to hide. The detective asked me to describe my relationship with Olivia. I said we were co-workers, nothing more. We sometimes worked late on reports. We had polite conversations about deadlines and policy changes. I never flirted with her. I never touched her. I never asked her out. They showed me her written statement. She claimed that after the meeting, I had asked her to stay behind to review numbers, then forced myself on her in the conference room. Reading those words made my stomach turn. It felt like reading about a stranger. I told them it was impossible. Other team members had been there until the end. The building had cameras in every hallway. The investigators requested the agency's security footage and access logs. That gave me a small piece of hope. Government buildings track everything. Every badge swipe is recorded. Every hallway camera stores footage for 30 days. If the truth was anywhere, it would be there. Still, the waiting was torture. I could not sleep. I kept thinking about how fragile a reputation is. Years of good work can vanish in a single sentence. I had received awards for ethical conduct. I had trained new employees on proper reporting standards. None of that mattered now. Victor called me once during that week. His voice was distant. He said the agency had to remain neutral. I understood, but it hurt. Neutral felt the same as guilty. I spent hours reviewing my calendar, emails, and phone records from that day. I wanted every detail sharp in my mind. A week later, the detective called with an update. The badge log showed that I left the conference room at 8:17 p.m. and exited the building at 8:22 p.m. My car was recorded leaving the parking lot at 8:24 p.m. Olivia's badge showed she left at 8:19 p.m., 2 minutes after me. That timeline did not match her claim. According to her statement, the assault happened around 8:30 p.m. inside the conference room. But by then, I was already driving home. The detective said they were still reviewing the hallway footage. My heart pounded as he spoke. For the first time, I felt a real crack in the case against me. Still, doubt lingered. What if the cameras had blind spots? What if something was missing? Fear is stubborn. Even when facts start to shine, fear tries to pull you back into darkness. 2 days later, Samuel called me. His voice carried something I had not heard before: confidence. The hallway camera outside the conference room showed Olivia leaving alone at 8:19 p.m. She looked calm. She carried her bag and walked toward the elevator. There was no sign of distress. No sign of me following her. Another camera showed me entering the parking garage alone. The timestamps matched the badge logs. The detective told Samuel that the evidence raised serious concerns about her statement. I sat at my kitchen table and let out a long breath I felt I had been holding for days. But relief was mixed with anger. How could she say something so damaging when the building itself recorded the truth? The investigation was not over. They still needed to interview others. Yet the story she told was already starting to fall apart. As the investigation continued, rumors grew inside the agency. A former coworker, Aaron Patel, called me quietly one evening. He said some staff members were divided. A few believed me because of the timeline evidence. Others said victims do not always show visible distress. I agreed with that last part. Pain does not always look dramatic. That is why this situation was so painful. I did not want to dismiss real victims. I simply knew I was not guilty. Aaron also mentioned something that caught my attention. Olivia had recently applied for a promotion to senior compliance lead. I had applied for the same role. The final decision was due the following Monday, just 4 days after the alleged incident. I did not know what to think. I did not want to believe ambition could drive someone this far. But the timing felt heavy. The police interviewed the rest of our team. Claire Benson, who sat beside me during the meeting, confirmed that everyone left together around 8:15 p.m. She said there was no private request for Olivia to stay. Another teammate said the same. Then came a new detail. Security footage from the lobby showed Olivia making a phone call at 8:21 p.m., just after she exited the building. She appeared calm, even smiling briefly. Phone records later confirmed she spoke with a friend for 12 minutes. That call happened during the time she claimed the assault was taking place. The detective met with me and Samuel again. He said the evidence did not support her version of events. However, they needed to complete the process carefully. False accusations are rare but serious. They required clear proof before closing the case. Weeks passed before the final decision came. During that time, I lived in a strange space. Not officially charged, yet not cleared. I avoided public places. I stayed close to family. My mother prayed every night. Nina checked on me daily. One afternoon, Samuel called and asked me to come to his office. When I arrived, he stood up and shook my hand firmly. "The district attorney has declined to file charges," he said. "The evidence contradicts her statement." I felt my knees weaken. He continued, explaining that the police report would state there was no factual basis for the accusation. The hallway footage, badge logs, and phone records made it impossible for the alleged assault to have occurred as described. I closed my eyes and let tears fall. I was cleared legally. But I still wondered what would happen at the agency. The agency launched its own internal review. Government institutions move slowly, especially when reputation is at stake. I was invited back for a formal meeting with Internal Affairs. Victor was there again, along with the HR director. This time, their tone had changed. They confirmed that the police findings showed no evidence of misconduct on my part. They also informed me that Olivia had been placed on leave pending disciplinary action for providing false information during an official investigation. Hearing that brought no joy, only exhaustion. They asked if I wished to return to my role immediately. I hesitated. Walking back into that building felt frightening. But I knew staying away would allow whispers to grow. I said yes. I wanted my desk back. I wanted my name back. I wanted my life back. My first day back felt heavier than my last day before the accusation. Some coworkers greeted me warmly. Others avoided eye contact. The air was thick with things unsaid. Victor called a short department meeting. He stated clearly that the investigation had found no wrongdoing on my part. He did not share details, but the message was firm. I appreciated that. After the meeting, Claire hugged me. Aaron shook my hand and said he was glad the truth came out. Those small gestures meant more than they knew. Still, I noticed a few cold stares. Accusations leave stains, even when proven false. I focused on my work. Numbers, contracts, compliance rules. Facts. Facts had saved me. Facts would ground me again. A week later, I learned more about what had happened. Through official documents, it became clear that Olivia had changed parts of her story during interviews. Timelines shifted. Details did not match. When confronted with camera footage, she claimed she felt confused about the time. Eventually, she admitted that no assault occurred. She said she felt overlooked for promotion and believed filing a complaint would delay the decision. Hearing that explanation felt unreal. A career disagreement had nearly destroyed my life. The agency rescinded her promotion application and began termination procedures. I did not attend any of those meetings. I did not want revenge. I wanted distance. Yet the emotional damage remained. Trust, once broken, does not heal overnight. The promotion decision was postponed for a month. When it was finally announced, I was offered the senior compliance lead position. The news felt bittersweet. I had worked hard for it, but the path to it was filled with pain. I accepted the role, knowing some might question it. I promised myself to lead with fairness and transparency. I understood now how fragile workplace culture can be. One false claim can shake an entire agency. I also requested stronger review policies for internal complaints. Not to silence anyone, but to ensure evidence is gathered quickly and fairly. Leadership agreed. My case had exposed weaknesses in the system. If something good could come from it, I wanted it to protect others. At home, life slowly regained balance. Nina joked that I looked 10 years younger without the weight of fear on my shoulders. My mother cried when I told her about the promotion. For the first time in months, we celebrated. Still, certain nights were hard. I would wake up remembering the word rape, spoken in that quiet office. The shock of it never fully faded. I began seeing a counselor to process the anger and anxiety. That decision helped more than I expected. Talking openly about fear made it smaller. I realized something important. Being cleared completely does not erase trauma. It simply ends the legal threat. Healing is a separate journey. Over time, coworkers grew more comfortable around me again. Conversations returned to normal topics. Deadlines, policy updates, weekend plans. Yet I noticed that some treated me with extra caution, as if unsure how close to stand. I understood. People fear controversy. I chose patience. I answered questions calmly when asked. I did not speak badly about Olivia. I simply stated facts. Truth needs no decoration. One afternoon, a junior analyst approached me privately. He said he admired how I handled everything without anger or public outbursts. His words surprised me. Inside, I had felt rage many times. But I had learned to let evidence speak louder than emotion. Months later, I received an official letter stating that all records related to the accusation had been closed with no findings against me. My employment file was cleared. Holding that letter felt symbolic. Paper had once threatened my freedom. Now paper restored my name. I placed a copy in a safe folder at home. Not because I expected trouble again, but because I wanted proof of resilience. This experience had shown me how quickly life can change. It had also shown me the power of documentation and clear timelines. I became more careful in every interaction. Doors remained open during late meetings. Emails confirmed decisions. Transparency became my shield. Looking back, the hardest part was the waiting. The silence between questions and answers. The nights when I did not know how my story would end. Those moments tested my faith in fairness. I learned that systems, though slow, can work when evidence is strong. Cameras, logs, phone records. They told the truth when words tried to twist it. That realization brought a strange comfort. Facts are stubborn things. I also learned that reputation is fragile but not hopeless. It can be rebuilt with patience and steady behavior. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened without security footage. What if the cameras had failed? That thought humbles me. Not everyone accused has clear proof waiting in a server room. It deepened my empathy for others facing false claims. I began volunteering with a workplace ethics committee outside my agency. I shared my experience in private sessions focused on due process. I stressed that supporting real victims and protecting the falsely accused are not opposing goals. Both require careful investigation and fairness. Speaking about it transformed pain into purpose. A year after the accusation, I stood in the same conference room where it supposedly happened. Sunlight streamed through the windows. The table looked ordinary, harmless. I felt a quiet strength standing there. That room had once been the center of a lie. Now it was simply a room again. I understood then that places hold no power over truth. People do. Choices do. I no longer felt fear when I walked those halls. Only awareness. Some coworkers eventually admitted they had doubted me at first. I appreciated their honesty. Fear can cloud judgment. I told them I understood. I had doubted the system too. Trust rebuilt slowly, like bricks laid one at a time. Meetings became smoother. Laughter returned. The agency continued its mission of serving the public. Life moved forward. Being blamed for everything felt like drowning in darkness. Being cleared completely felt like stepping into air after nearly losing it. The contrast changed me. I became less worried about small problems. I focused on what truly mattered: integrity, family, and truth. I stopped taking ordinary days for granted. When I mentor new employees now, I tell them to document their work carefully. Not out of fear but out of wisdom. Clear records protect everyone. Transparency protects trust. I also remind them that accusations must be handled with seriousness and fairness. Justice requires balance. It requires patience. There are still moments when the memory surfaces without warning. A phrase on the news. A headline online. My chest tightens for a second. Then I breathe and remind myself, I faced that storm and survived. I was tested in a way I never imagined. Yet I did not lose myself. Today, I introduce myself without hesitation. My name is Adrian Cole. I am a senior compliance lead at a government agency. I was once accused of a terrible crime I did not commit. I was blamed for everything. But facts stood firm. Evidence spoke clearly. And in the end, I was cleared completely. The experience left scars, yes, but it also left strength. I walk forward now with deeper empathy and stronger resolve. My name, once shadowed by doubt, stands in the light again.